And welcome back, everyone, to Box Office Report. Today on the 2nd of March, 2025. We're already into March, folks. Where the hell did this first part of the year go? And not surprisingly, Captain America did, in fact, come in number one again with 15.15-ish million, dropped up 46.8 million dollars. Last Breath made the number 2 spot, 7.8. The Monkey made number 3 spot, 6.3. Paddington to Peru still in the top 5 with 4.5. And then Dogman rounding out the top 5 with 4.2. Now, I didn't get the box office right this week because I do believe I predicted the Gundam would be somewhere in here. The speculation on Gundam was grossly exaggerated. Yeah, only made it to number 10 spot, didn't even make $1 million. So it is probably one of the lowest box office of the year to date. If you take into consideration any of the stuff that came out last year, like Mufasa, or any of the new stuff either, it's a low ass box office. I don't think this box office hits 50. Hell, I'm not even sure it hits 40. Let me just see this real quick here. That would be about 7, so that's about 24, so that's 29. Yeah, maybe if you added everything up, it gets just barely to 40, but yeah, this is a small-ass weekend for the box office. But we've also had a very quiet February. Captain America made our 15 million. It's currently made 163.6 domestically, 178.1 internationally, for a grand total right now of 341.7, so rounded up to $42 million. Now, most films that come out would probably kill for this. This does currently make it the number 1 box office film of the year so far. There's no question, there's no doubt. It is, by a mile, as you can see right here, the highest grossing film of the year. But again, it's going to be taken out of the equation when you get the things probably like Snow White, the Thunderbolts, Jurassic World, a couple of the animated films coming out here, Mission Impossible. So yeah, like right now, this is not going to be an end of the year number. But it's both a good and a bad. More bad than good, but still good than the bad. The good. It dropped less than 50%, so for whatever reason, the legs weren't there for the second weekend, but they're now kicking in for the third weekend, which is kind of par for the course with these Marvel films, actually. The fact, too, was there was nothing out that could really hurt it in terms of box office. And the remaining good news is you're not going to get a real challenger for this type of movie for a while. Yes, it's not going to be number 1 next week. I guarantee that. Mickey 17 is going to be number 1 next week. And then Snow White's going to kick its ass in the box office. So it's not going to be number 1, but it still actually has a good run in theory ahead of it because there's nothing that would specifically challenge it and what it brings. So that's good. Its internationals are starting to run out, though. Its internationals are really starting to run out of juice. In fact, I would be so inclined to say I don't think the international has much left in it because it was just crossed 300 when we got the numbers in. When we got the numbers in on Friday, so the international kicked it. If the numbers were say more like 381 as opposed to 341, I'd be less concerned. I'd say yeah, it's going to hit 400 million. It will probably break even. This, I don't know. Like it has to hit about 420 to break even. It has to basically 80 million more, roughly. Let's just say 80 million. It's got to be like 78, but 80 million. It doesn't have that domestically in the tank. If I were to guess on what it has left domestically, if we're not talking about the per day, if we're just talking weekend to weekend, per weekend, it might have 30, 40 at the max, but 30 is I think a reasonable number to guess. I do not know if it's got that in there. So if I were just to add that on there, that's 380. I don't know how much internationally it's got left. Unless there's some markets it hasn't opened up in yet, this very well might not make its money back. And that's unfortunate. It's not a god-awful movie. It's not a great movie, but it's not a god-awful movie either. But unfortunately, the fact that it was kind of a mediocre, middle-of-the-road movie for Marvel didn't help it out at all. Because in the end of the day, the legs your movie has all come down to how good the movie is. And the audience kind of smoked. The audience smoked, man. Wasn't that good a movie, brah? But no, the audience smoked that. They saw it enough times. Now, weirdly enough, it's got better legs in the third week, and again, that kind of falls par for course for these Marvel films. They actually tend to drop less in the third week than they do the second week, which is weird. And yeah, at the end of the day, it comes down to the quality of the movie. Because Deadpool Wolverine showed us, mind you, did have the gimmick and the pull of, hey, Hugh Jackman came back to play Wolverine. But more to the point, it still showed us that audiences aren't tired of superhero movies. They're tired of mediocre movies. And when you have enough mediocre properties, and when you have enough mediocrity in a row, it will hurt you a little bit. It's going to hurt you a little bit. Now, does this mean Marvel's dead, as we asked the question last week? No, it doesn't mean Marvel's dead. Marvel has had so much of a run of success with just their movies that things like the Marvels and Captain America are more or less speed bumps. And this still did way better than the Marvels did. By a mile, it did better than the Marvels did. And if it does lose money, it's going to be less than what the Marvels lost. I mean, the movie's made on $180 million, and that's with the reshoots, as far as we know. Without the reshoots, I'm betting it was probably down to like 140, 150, which then would have meant that this film probably would have broken even. But what you gonna do? Even if it was only 10, it still would have been better odds than what we got going on right now. Still, you factor in probably 100. I still don't know what the marketing budget on this is. My guess is 100 million, but let me be sure about that. Let's see here. Captain America: Brave New World marketing budget. Do we have that yet? 180. What is the budget? Captain America. 300. Okay, so reported budget 180. Captain America: Brave New World. We need to generate at least 360 to 450. Okay, that's averaging it out. Budget that was a bullshit report about the budget. So yeah, again, the proper thought process that a lot of people had is that it needs to hit 420, and that is roughly what I thought too. 100 million in marketing. So. Can it still pull 80 million off? I'm not going to say it's impossible. At least domestically, it doesn't have any contenders. Like, it won't be number one next week. Mickey 17 is going to be number one next week. That's a given. At least I feel like that's a given. But it doesn't mean Captain America is going to suffer as bad as we may think. It might drop like 50% next week. It might. Maybe it drops less than 50 like it does here. Because, again, Mickey 17 is the new guy on the block, but it's not something that directly competes with this. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll also have to wait and see what the international maybe brings in. Because if the international comes and let's just do a hypothetical. Let's say Captain America makes 10 million next week. It's made a couple million throughout the week. So let's just add another, I don't know, 3. Let's round it up, 42. Let's round it to 45. I feel 46 even. Let's round it to 46. 4 altogether between the 4 days. I think that's reasonable enough to guess. Okay, so that would mean that we're at 46, adding our 10 on there. Well, that means we're at 56. If the numbers come in next week for the international side of the fence, and it's at, say, 385 or up, I'm still going to hold out hope then that Captain America can pull something out of his hat. But if the numbers come in, and again, using my hypothetical, 56 from the domestic, and then it's only like at 360-something, then I'm going to call it and say it's not making its money back. We still got a little ways to go before I can make that guess, though. And again, will this be the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Of course it's not going to be the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Anyone who says that, saying, this is where Marvel ends, like, okay, look, you don't like Marvel or you like being contrarian. Either way, shut up. It's not the truth. You just want it to be the truth because you're sad. But no, they got the Thunderbolts, which has far more hype coming from it. Daredevil Born Again's coming out this week. It comes out Tuesday. I'm going to watch it on Wednesday, but it comes out Tuesday. God, I'm waiting for that. And everything I've heard, we're back to form. And then Fantastic Four, a little bit we saw, looks good. So, look, Marvel's future is actually relatively bright right now. Is this a bump in the road? Yes. Will this probably hurt a little bit of Thunderbolts marketing or box office on opening weekend? Maybe a little. because you're coming off of a less than stellar movie. But to be fair, it's not like a Deadpool and Wolverine jacked up Captain America's box office anything impressive. It probably helped. Let's be honest. It did probably help a little bit, but it's not like it. Yeah, it's not like it did like Captain America opened over 100 million. In fact, it actually underperformed a little bit on its opening weekend. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. But Last Breath debuts with 7.8 million. Apparently, it's made on roughly $24 million, which that's impressive. And it opened to 7.8. So honestly, is that a good number? It's a little under a third, but I'd say that's not the worst number in the world. I also don't think it's going to be just nicking its money back. This isn't the type of film that's really designed for that. But who knows? I didn't get heavy marketing, that's for certain. Hell, I would be hesitant to say it had over 10 million in marketing, but usually they usually ask for like a commitment of like 20 million or something like that. So you're looking at a film that's on 44, has to make 66. This film's not making its money back unless the international market gives us just a big old boom. There you go. But I didn't see this movie. I took a pass this week on the movies. There was nothing really coming out this week that I was deeply interested in, including this. And the finances aren't like super tight, but conserve money for when like the actual bigger releases are coming out. So yeah, I took a break, and you know what? I'm glad I did. I kind of needed the break. But what's going to be the legacy of this film? What's going to be the overall numbers? Probably nothing major. It's constantly going to be a breath in the wind, like breath on a mirror. It's not gonna be making any big waves, really. Unfortunately. Now, maybe if this had opened to say 15 million, we might be having a different conversation, but it didn't. The Monkey, though, is actually not doing too badly at all. It dropped 54.7%, which honestly isn't bad, considering it barely opened to like 11-ish million. What did it open on? 14 million. It's made only like 11 million when it's all said and done. You factor in that it's probably got about 20 in marketing, which would make sense. I saw the trailer enough to say the 20 would make sense. And really, all this film's got to do is about 45 million. It's on track for doing that. And I enjoyed the movie. It is a weird but fun movie to sit through. It really is more just a dark comedy with a lot of gore and blood, but it is very funny. I actually had a good time. The couple next to me didn't, but what are you going to do? Can't please them all. Paddington in Peru. Now, this is a film that unfortunately is not doing very well. And by the way, I know it's specifically like an English IP, but I don't really see what the point of releasing it prior to its the U.S. release date. It's worldwide. Let's call it its worldwide release date, if you will, and domestic release date specifically. I don't really see how that really helped it at all. It didn't. And internationally, this film isn't making any other money. Let's actually just see if we can find. Yeah, there we go. So let's see, domestic. 12 million. Oh, that's a release date. I'm not looking for release date. I'm looking for its actual. Yeah, okay. Original release. Go original release. All territories. Okay, here we go. Grosses. All right. Let's see here. I mean, it's actually not in a huge amount of markets, so maybe something's gonna happen with it, cause like its biggest release right now, its biggest release market right now is I want to say it's like the UK or whatever, cause this is only 31. Like this doesn't really add up to the number. Okay, there we go. United Kingdoms, yeah, 46 million there. You would think it'd be bigger, cause I'm pretty sure the other ones were bigger. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure why this one didn't have the same appeal as the other two, because the other two made a lot of money. I mean, for the amount that the movies were made on, at least. So, yeah, the movie's made on, I believe, 90. Probably only had at best it had 50 million, and that's generous. So you're probably looking at more like 40 million. Even so, you'd still be looking at a film that has to more or less hit about 200 to break even. Let's say this: if somehow manages 200, it'll be fine. But is it just that people are done with Paddington? Like It was charming the first 2 times around, or is it because we took so long to get to the third Paddington? Honestly, it could be a Furiosa scenario because Furiosa was a pretty good movie, and that film bombed hard. But that was a niche of a niche of a niche. An R-rated movie, so you're excluding a certain amount of people, of a prequel of a franchise that was never a top-grossing film. But yeah, let's see, Paddington 2 was 7 years ago. Holy shit. I mean, technically, okay, let's be fair. It's 28. It's 8, 7, whatever. Point is, it was nearly almost a decade ago. Whereas Paddington 2 came out on the heels of Paddington 1, 3 years after. So honestly, I think that's your answer. They waited too long to get this next one off the ground. Now, I know actors had other commitments. I know, like, Brendan Wishaw, who voices Paddington, he was also Q, and at the time, he was also doing Skyfall. But to be fair, I don't think he's doing the mocap for Paddington. He's just doing the voice. So, would it have been really hard to record his lines? Right now, that is my best guess as to why Paddington 3 did not do the same as well as the other two, because they just waited too long. It's one of those franchises that you make so many of them in such a span of time before people just don't care. So I'm guessing that's my opinion, but maybe there's another reason. A film franchise that is actually doing well is Dogman. 113 million against a 40, if I remember correctly. Dogman is made on only like 40. No, it's made on 60? No, it's made on 30, I believe. Dogman, hold on. Dogman. I'm Dogman. Well, he's a dog man. He's a dog man. Well, he's a dog man. Boom, 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 boom. He's a rough guy. And then, okay, I'm done. It's like, what are you doing? We don't care about this. It's like, you're right. There's something wrong with me. It's something seriously wrong with me. 40 million, that's what it was. And my guess is even if it was made on, like, I had a $30 million marketing budget, which I don't think it did. I think it was probably closer to 20. Then you're looking at a film that would have had to hit 90. So it did that, and now it's just making money. So good for it. It's the little movie that kind of could, when you really think about it. It just kind of been sticking around the top 10 for a while, top 5 for a while, because nothing else has really come out. The first 2 months, I think, is a fair term to use, of 2025 are pretty mellow. Captain America and Paddington, I think, were the biggest releases of the year, and they are currently the biggest grossing films of the year right now. But once you get into March, you'll have Mickey 17, which isn't going to probably be huge in terms of, like, box office, but it'll be big enough to be a noticeable movie that month. Obviously, Snow White is probably going to be big enough to get noticed. I think it's tracking for somewhere between 40 and 50, maybe 60, which is still a decent number. It'll be the biggest number in the last some odd amount of time. And then we're going to get into April. You'll have Minecraft. We'll just have to wait and see how big that movie's going to be. I have a feeling that movie's going to bomb because no one's been interested in that trailer. No one. And then there might be one other film in April that's going to be important. I know Accountant 2 comes out in April, but then you get Thunderbolts. Then you get Mission Impossible. Then you're going to get Jurassic World. Superman's coming out. Let's not forget that. So once May hits, the big boys are coming to play. So we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. Mufasa, The Lion King, still trotting around in the top 10. $702 million. Look, it didn't make $1 billion. It didn't make $1.6 billion. Didn't break any records. But it made a lot more money than I thought it was going to make. That's for certain. And I didn't want the movie to fail or anything like that. I just didn't think it was going to be all that good. And that no one would be interested. But clearly, enough people were interested. Wasn't as interested as the first one. And as far as I can tell, it's not as good as the first one. Not that I saw the first one, anyway. The photorealistic remake. But still, good on it. I mean, I checked Wicked. Wicked is at 728. I don't think Mufasa is going to somehow make another $26 million plus. But look, at this rate, I can't hold anything against it. Who knows what happens with it. Hard Eyes, 1.3 million. It didn't make its money back, but as far as I can tell, it was apparently a well-received little film. Unlike something like Love Hurts, which, oh God, Still couldn't even make its budget back of $18 million. That is sad as hell. Just sad as hell. I had a fun time with it. It wasn't a good movie, but I had a fun time with it. One of them days, 900 grand, a little over, 47.6 million. Yeah, good for it. It made some money back. Moana 2 still kind of there too. Where are you, Moana 2? 1,053.9 million, so 54. Hold on one second. I'm gonna check because I'm pretty much done here. Does that put it on another all-time, not weekend records? I want the all-time overall. Does that put it as one of the highest, or does it get it on the next level rank? Let's see here. 53, 46th highest right now. Okay, it would have to make another 5. Would I say 5? Let's just say 5, like 4.3ish, something like that. Yeah, but let's 4.3. Well, 4.31. Okay, well, 4.31 if we're getting really specific here. Million to do that. I don't think it is. But who knows? It could catch one more little record. Not that it needs to. It was the third highest grossing film of the year last year. Either way, I mean, good for it. I don't think it was quite as good as the first one. The songs weren't as good, but it was still a very entertaining movie and a good time with it. Sonic the Hedgehog, by the way, still continues to make a little bit of money, and it's currently at $486 million. Highest grossing of the franchise by far. So they're still got the motivation. That's the word I'm looking for. They still got the motivation to make more. Either way, though, it was a rough week at the box office, to be sure. But again, it's been a rather rough year to begin with. Some movies did well, but other films that I didn't think would do badly did not do great. I mean, if we look at right now at the worldwide this year, Captain America still has a chance. It's losing that chance more and more. Like the odds are starting to not be stacked in its favor. But it still has a chance of making its money back. Dogman made its money back. Bridget Jones mad about the boy. Oh God, I didn't even know that came out. Bridget Jones mad about the boy. Did this get a release here? It does not have a domestic release right now. And what is that made on? Hold on. I didn't even know about this. Let's see here. Bridget Jones mad about the boy. What is this made on? Do we have a budget? By the way, I do not care about Bridget Jones' salary, so I'd have no real issue with like seeing spoilers. $50 million, but okay. I don't remember seeing it being marketed at all. Hell, Paddington was marketed, so you can't make it's UK. Paddington was marketed. But I don't know. I mean, 90 million is a good number to be on to begin with. My guess is the marketing is probably pretty low, if I haven't seen any trailers for it. So let's just put it at an even 30. So if you're looking at 50, 30, that's 80. So this film would have to make about 120. Assuming this film gets a domestic release, 120, 90 already, you just have to do 30 million. That wouldn't be impossible to do by any stretch of the means. But then you got Den of Thieves, Pantera, which did not make its money back, but I've heard that we might still get a third one. One of them days did in fact make some money, made on very little. Flight Risk did not make some money back, but it had such a small budget, 25 million. Same with Companion. Companion was made on only 10 million. Still didn't make its money back if you factor marketing in, which sucks because Companion's great. This is still the best movie of the year in my opinion. Wolfman, not a fantastic, but not a bad. I liked Wolfman all right. I thought it was a good concept. I felt the execution needed a little bit of work, and the design didn't work for me. But again, really made on a really small budget, like 28 million or 25 million, and did not make its money back. That is rare for a Blumhouse film not to do that. The Monkey right now is on track right now, so it has been a unique year right now. But again, we're only in, and now we're looking at all 200 films of the year so far. But we're only in the beginning of the third month of the year. We're not even out of the first quarter of the year yet. So we'll see how this year ultimately ends up playing out in the long haul. Now, that being said, what do I think the box office will look like this coming week? We got several wide releases. We got the Queen of the Ring, which I have mildly seen some things of, but I doubt it's going to be one of the films that's in the top 5. In the Lost Lands, I don't think this one's going to be in the top 5. I do kind of want to see it though, because I'm like, oh wait, this is the Dave Bautista one. Oh yeah, she's gonna. A queen sends powerful and feared sorceress Gley into the ghostly wilderness of the Lost Lands in search of magical power. Where the sorceress and her guide and drifter voice must outwit and fight a man and demon. Outfit man and demon. And apparently, she'll turn into a werewolf based on the synopsis I read initially. So fuck it, I'm there for that. If there's a showing, I will see both Mickey 17 and In the Lost Lands. But then Mickey 17. That being said, I don't know if it'll be in the top 5. Night of the Zoopocalypse. I did say I was going to check this out because of the one viewer I had that likes it when I talk about see as many as the anime as possible. But again, it all depends if there is a wide enough release for me to see it. But yeah, Mickey 17, I don't think any of us are going to really argue that should and probably will be number 1 this week. Now, what it makes, I don't know. I have no idea what the tracking for it is. You know what? Let's see if I can find that real quick. Mickey. Hey, Mickey, you're so fun. And yeah, they did, in fact, play that song in Mickey 17 tracking numbers. Okay, what is it tracking for right now? Okay, 20 plus opening weekend. Yeah, that would firmly put it at the number 1 spot. Firmly put it. So, yeah, number 1, that. I'm going to be honest. I don't see Night of the Zoopocalypse being in the number 5. Well, based on a lot of the number 5s, 2, 5, 4, and 5 spot are. Maybe it could still be. But it's got no marketing. Like, the only marketing I saw for it was the trailer. So, online. Like, I have not seen it attached to movies. So, this all depends on what we define as a wide release. This could be a wide release in the same vein as some of these other ones, where it's like, gets 2,000 screens, or 500 screens, and not in my local theater. So, we'll have to wait and see. I'm not gonna lie, Captain America's probably number 2 this week. Because, I mean, there are other wide releases, but they're just not gonna be wide enough, I think. So I will still put Captain America number 2. Oh crap. Oh god, this just turned bad fast. Do any of the new releases maybe get the number 3 spot? Because everything in number 3 is going to probably be under 4 million. Oh, God. Because I have no idea what the release is going to be. Like, how wide of a release it's going to be for either of these. F it. Zoopocalypse because it's animated. In the Lost Lands. And then the Monkey. Those last 3 are a complete crapshoot. But they might get wide enough screenings that they could be in the top 5. I don't know. What do you think? I legitimately don't know. Thanks for watching, though. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. Oh, God, I'm all over the place. Hold on. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. If you have an idea, put it in the comments below. Suggestion. Until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.